To support women's development worldwide and the work of the UN Women, China will donate $10 million to the UN Women for the implementation of the Beijing Declaration and its platform for action and the realization of the related goals of the post-2015 development agenda.
That was Chinese President Xi Jinping addressing the United Nations. He joined other world leaders in a call to step up efforts to ensure gender equality in the next 15 years. The 50-50 by 2030 campaign asks governments to improve policies and boost investment in that cause. And this built on the blueprint laid out in China during the 4th World Conference on Women that took place in 1995. And that is when the Beijing Platform for Action identified 12 critical areas of concern. Now, these included the environment, education, security, health, and the economy. And getting 189 countries to adopt these changes, well, that was an ambitious step. But now turning these pledges into progress is a tougher challenge. So it's been 20 years since the Beijing Platform for Action was drawn up, but how much progress has been made to close the wage gap and empower women financially? CCTV's Rachelle Akuffo explores how far women have come.
I declare the NGO Forum on Women, Beijing 1995, open!
The 4th World Conference on Women signaled a new day in promoting global gender equality and women's empowerment. Thousands of activists and world leaders pledged to make meaningful advances to reshape the future of women everywhere.
Human rights are women's rights, and women's rights are human rights once and for all.
Beijing was a marker, a very significant marker.
Melanne Verveer was the first U.S. ambassador for global women's issues. As Hillary Clinton's chief of staff during the conference, she was there when 189 countries pledged to improve the lives of women.
The moment that stays with me is that moment in her speech where she goes through a recitation of violations against women. Many of the people in that room had been working so hard on those issues in their own countries. And they, I know, felt validated by the fact that this woman had come viewed as one of the more powerful women in the world and really taken on, in many ways, their concerns.
The issue of women and the economy is one of the UN's 12 critical areas of concern. A list of issues that, if addressed, could make gender inequality and the wage gap a thing of the past. Today's woman working full-time earns a global average of 78 cents for every dollar a man earns. It may not sound like much, but in the US, it can add up to a loss of more than $11,000 a year. That's more than $430,000 over the course of a woman's career. Adopting these policies is the first step. Implementing and funding them requires global government cooperation and a motivated private sector. Data shows Fortune 500 companies with at least 3 women on the board are more profitable and perform better than companies without them. Women are also increasingly becoming the breadwinners at home, empowering their families, their communities, and the broader economy. Ambassador Verveer expects these factors will fuel momentum in the fight to close the wage gap.
How women spend their income, what they do to raise the standard of living, how women entrepreneurs are growing their economies. Change is coming, and it will come from enlightened leadership. It has to come from political will, and it comes from that movement, from those voices, from the data being put in front of people and saying, why this discrepancy? No country can get ahead if it leaves half of its people behind. No country.
Empowering women, empowering humanity, picture it.
Kalpana.
Imagínalo.
Imagine.
Rachelle Akuffo, CCTV in Washington.